Hey guys, tonight, we're stepping just slightly off the map, where familiarity starts to fray, and reality's edges get fuzzy. You're walking home late past the usual storefronts, and that noodle place that always smells like it's burning something on purpose. Streetlights buzz, moths orbit in lazy spirals, and your sneakers slap damp pavement. You know this route. You've walked it for years. But tonight, there's an alley. It's thin, slit-like, tucked between a locksmith and a closed barber shop. You've never noticed it before. That's the part that nags. You should've. It's on your side of the street. You pass here every Tuesday after your shift, and yet there it is. Dark as a coat lining cleanly paved, stretching back farther than seems architecturally plausible. You pause. You check your phone. You take a step in. The first thing you notice is the smell, cinnamon and mildew, like old books left beside a bakery. The air is warmer here, almost humid. And when you glance back, the street's still visible, but weirdly muffled. You walk forward. Why? Because you're tired. Because you're curious. Because, let's be honest, you don't actually believe anything interesting ever happens to you. Spoiler, it's about to. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe. But only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. And don't forget to comment where you're watching from and what time it is where you are. I love seeing the global bedtime roll call. Now dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum. And let's ease into tonight's journey together. The alley narrows. Your shoulders brush the walls. There's a brick arch overhead, with vines you swear are shifting ever so slightly. Then you see it. Set into the left wall a door. Stone frame wooden panel, no handle. It doesn't look old. It looks permanent. Like it grew here. It hums. You lean in. There's no knob. No bell. Just a tiny red handprint on the lower corner, slightly smeared. You stare at it too long, and then something knocks from the inside. You freeze. There's no breeze here, no pipes to creak, no animals scuttling behind bins. Just that solid, unmistakable knock. Two sharp raps like the back of a knuckle on oak. It doesn't echo. It doesn't repeat. You lean back, heart picking up speed, and for a moment, just a moment, you're ready to turn around. You're not foolish. You're not reckless. You're just tired. But then you hear it, your name, whispered once, clearly. From behind the door, you didn't imagine it. The pronunciation, the rhythm, it's yours, not the formal version. The name your brother used when you were kids. It's the kind of whisper that vibrates behind your sternum, like someone spoke it through the bones of your chest. And then next to the door, someone appears. He wasn't there before. You're sure of it. You didn't blink. There was no footstep, no shift of shadow. But now he's there, a man in a long brown coat, arms loosely at his sides. He looks tidy, old-fashioned, like a librarian who lost his library. His collar is deep red, folded wide like a velvet napkin, and his skin, pale, but not sickly, just unused. He doesn't smile, doesn't blink, just tilts his head and says, "I've been waiting." You manage a stammer. Ask if he knows you. Ask what this place is. He doesn't answer. Instead, he nods toward the door and places his hand, his perfectly clean hand, where the red mark is. And the door slides open, not a creak, not a groan, just a hiss of pressure, like someone letting out a long-held breath. Inside is warm fog, pale yellow, like tea steam. He steps aside, doesn't motion for you to enter, just waits. You ask again, "Who are you?" He says only you left something behind. Historians still argue whether ancient myths of fairy mounds and spirit roads were allegories or warnings. Entrances to thin places where one step too far meant never stepping back. This is a doorway, but it doesn't feel like an entrance. It feels like a return, and before you can stop yourself, you step inside. The moment your foot crosses the threshold, everything softens, not physically. The ground still feels firm beneath you. Stone tiles, faintly warm, faintly damp. But the air, it goes cotton thick. Every sound muffles like you're underwater with ears just on the verge of popping. Even your own breath sounds distant. Behind you, the doorway seals with a sound like silk being folded. The man in the coat doesn't follow. You're alone. Ahead, the fog swirls in lazy loops, glowing faintly gold. Shapes loom in it. Walls, arches, some kind of ceiling, ribbed like an old cathedral, but they drift in and out of clarity, as though the place can't decide what it is. You walk forward, cautiously. Every step leaves a damp footprint behind, and somehow that's the most disturbing part so far. You don't remember your feet being wet. You pass a table, small wooden round, on it a teacup. Half full, still steaming. No one's around. You pass a chair, slightly rocking, a coat your coat. The one you lost last winter is hanging on a hook by a door you don't open. Then the hallway shifts. You didn't turn. The path didn't curve. And yet you're facing a wall you could swear wasn't there moments ago. It's covered in paper, notes, drawings, newspaper clippings, all in different handwriting. Some are in languages you don't recognize. Some are in yours. One of them is yours. You recognize it instantly. Your handwriting, your doodles in the corner. It's from a notebook you had in 10th grade. One that went missing after finals. The note says, "Don't go back." He watches through mirrors. You don't remember writing that. You step back, and that's when you hear the knock again. Not behind you, not beside you. From inside the wall, just two soft taps. Tap, tap. Historians still argue whether spirit channeling practices from Mesopotamia were true attempts at communication, or the earliest forms of scripted performance. But if this place is a script, you don't know your lines. You turn. The hallway's changed again. There's a mirror at the end. You can't see yourself in it. You start walking anyway. The mirror isn't glass. Not really. It reflects something, sure, but it doesn't reflect you. Not your face, not your frame. Instead, it shows a hallway. Similar to the one you're in now, but not identical. The lighting's colder. The walls are darker. The ceiling is lower, and on the far end of that mirrored hallway stands someone. They're facing away. Still, like a wax figure. You lean closer. They shift. Their shoulders rise and fall, breathing slow and deep, and their head tilts just slightly to the side, as if listening. Their hair looks like yours. Their stance, the slope of their back, You place a hand on the mirror's surface. It's warm, and then they turn. Not quickly, not dramatically. Just a slow, deliberate pivot. And yes, it's you, but not. Your face is off. The skin is smooth like it hasn't seen light. The eyes are too dark. Not black, just depthless like staring into ing. They smile and mouth your name. But the voice doesn't come from them. It comes from behind you. You spin hard hammering. Nothing there. When you turn back, the mirror is gone. So is the hallway. You're standing in a room now. Windowless. Rounded. Candlelit. But the flames give off no heat. The walls are lined with shelves full of tiny objects. Buttons, pins, coins, teeth. At the center, a small desk. Sitting at it, an old woman. Quill in hand. She doesn't look up. Just writes slowly. Her skin looks like dried parchment. Hair pinned tight in a linen cap. You try to speak, but your throat sticks. She pauses mid-sentence and finally says without looking, "You're early." You ask what this place is. She answers, "It's your record," and gestures toward a small drawer labeled with your name. Inside you find a folded paper. On it, a single word, forgotten. You look up, but the woman's gone. So is the desk. Now it's just you and the fog and faraway footsteps. Slow wet getting closer. Historians still argue whether ancient funerary rites were truly for the dead or for the living, to hold back what might return. But you're starting to think this place doesn't hold anything back. It keeps it alive, and now you're part of the archive. You run, not because you think it'll help, but because your legs don't ask permission. They just go through the fog past shelves of forgotten names and folded notes and quiet drawers that rattle as you pass. You knock over a basket of spectacles. They scatter like insects. One pair still glints as if watching. The fog opens slightly, and you burst into a new space tall domed echoing. The floor beneath you is a mosaic made of broken pottery shards arranged in spirals. Some still hold painted eyes. One shard by your foot reads, "We remember the ones who wander." The footsteps haven't followed, not yet. You slow. At the center of the room is a fountain, not of water. It drips a thick black ink. It doesn't pool. It evaporates on impact, like it's too old to stay. A cup rests beside it. The kind used for communion in medieval churches, hammered silver tarnished, etched with tiny vines and names in Latin. You lift it. It's warm. Your hand trembles as you bring it to your lips, because something wants you to. Not in words, but in gravity. You sip. Nothing happens. Then everything does. The mosaic floor ripples. The walls flatten. Your vision splits. Folds, unfolds. You're standing now in a room you recognize, but you've never been here. A nursery. Pale blue walls. Wooden cradle. Mobiles that spin, even though there's no breeze. You see a figure in the corner, standing still, watching the cradle. It's you, but not as you are now. As a child. Maybe 6, maybe 7. Wearing pajamas you remember losing in a hotel 2 decades ago. The child turns to you, mouth open like they're about to scream, but instead they whisper he's still thirsty. The fountain returns. You drop the cup. It shatters like bone. And now in the reflection on the ink surface, he's there, not you. Him, the one who watched. Historians still argue whether dream temples of ancient Greece allowed healing through divine vision or seeded trauma into those who couldn't forget. You're beginning to understand this place doesn't care whether you remember or not, only that it remembers you, and it is still very, very thirsty. You back away from the fountain heel, slipping on a damp shard of the broken cup. The sound it makes as it scrapes across the mosaic doesn't echo, it absorbs, like the floor itself is listening, but doesn't want anyone else to hear. The ink in the fountain stirs. You're not staying to see what crawls out of it. You run again. Every doorway seems to lead somewhere older, like you're moving backward through memory, or maybe through someone else's. A corridor of stone, then one of rough wood creaking with every breath. Then one made of bone, the walls etched with tiny symbols. Familiar symbols from your childhood drawings. You stumble into a room lined with mirrors, but none reflect your face. Each one shows a different version of you. Different ages, different clothes, different states of decay. In one, you're laughing though your mouth is too wide. In another, you're asleep, lips stitched shut with red thread. In the largest mirror directly ahead, you're not there at all. Just a chair, empty, a handprint on the armrest, still damp. You approach, touch the mirror, and this time your reflection reaches through it. It grabs you, not hard, not firmly, and it pulls. You stumble forward into the reflection. The world shifts. You're in a small, tidy room, a writing desk, a candle, a book open to a page that's already half filled with your handwriting. The ink is still wet. You read the words aloud, and the moment you do, you hear them whispered back in a voice that's not yours. A familiar voice you don't know from where or when, but it feels like someone who used to live inside you, the kind of voice your dreams used to have before you started forgetting them. You try to stop reading, but your mouth doesn't listen anymore. You keep writing. You keep reading. You keep becoming the story until the candle flickers and your name is gone from your mind, but still warm in the ink. Historians still argue whether medieval scribes believed they were copying divine truth or writing themselves into it. But here, you're beginning to realize the story you read was always about you, and now it's writing you back. The candle sputters. You blink, and suddenly the room isn't tidy anymore. The desk is rotted. The book is blank. The candle is burned down to a waxy stump, still hissing in a pool of ash. The walls around you groan as if they've been asleep for centuries and are now waking up wrong. You're not alone in the room. Something is breathing behind you. Not close, not far. Just far enough that turning around feels like an invitation. You don't. Instead, you walk toward the wall with the least shadows. A tiny window bars rusted and brittle, the view behind it dark. Not night, just dark, like someone forgot to paint the outside. But you can see one thing, a door, familiar, the one from your building, the one with the padlock no one could remember putting there. And it's open. Only just a sliver, but that's enough. You turn away from the window and the room is gone. In its place, a stairwell spiraling downward. Too narrow, too steep. The steps carved unevenly, like by a hand that didn't quite know what stairs were supposed to be. You descend, because you have no choice. Each step echoes with a different word. Not in your language. Not in any you've heard, but your brain still understands. They're names. Names of people who don't exist anymore. Names of people who might still be inside you. You pause. Because one of them you do recognize. It was your imaginary friend's name. You were 6. They only came when you were sick. You blamed them for the broken dishes, the scribbled walls, the tiny door in your closet that you swore wasn't there before. You say the name aloud, and the stairwell responds. A low creak, a breath, then silence. You descend the final step and find yourself in a room made entirely of doors, hundreds, stacked, layered, hung at wrong angles and sizes. Some are child-sized, others tower into the dark. One is made of mirrors. One is stitched from fabric that shivers. One is breathing. You look for the door from your apartment. It's not there, but the one that opens, that one has your name on it, carved into the wood. Fresh, still bleeding. Historians still argue whether labyrinths were meant to trap to guide or to transform those who walked them. But this place is no puzzle. It's a mirror maze made of choices you never made, and now it wants you to open the one you always feared most. Your hand hovers over the door. Your name, your full name, is etched in cursive you haven't used since elementary school, the kind you practiced in notebooks, loops too wide. The Y in your last name shaped like a question mark, except this carving. It's perfect, as if your own grown-up hand had traced it. The wood is warm, breathing warm. You press your palm to it, half expecting it to flinch or pulse beneath your touch. It doesn't. It just swings open, silent, effortless. On the other side is a long hallway. Plain. Linoleum floors. Beige walls, flickering fluorescent lights. You know this place. Your high school, but it's not quite right. The posters are old, yellowed, curled at the edges, dated decades before your birth. Your reflection stares from a trophy case you don't remember existing, wearing your hoodie and your confused expression. But the eyes are wrong. Too calm. Too still. You glance behind you. The door is gone. Just smooth wall where it stood, as if it never existed. You walk, past lockers dented with names you vaguely remember, past classrooms where the muffled sound of lessons echo, except the words make no sense. Like a recording played backward. Then you hear it. Footsteps, not yours. The distinct rhythm of your gait, but slightly off. Lighter. Slower. Following. You turn a corner too fast and slam straight into yourself, or not quite. They're wearing your face, but it's younger. High school, you braces and all. But the smile is too wide, like someone trying it out for the first time. Like they aren't sure what it means, going somewhere they ask. You open your mouth, but the words don't come. You try again. Nothing. You can't speak. They can. They hum the jingle from that old TV ad. You forgot existed one you used to sing in the car with your mom. They're mouthing the words, but the sound is coming from the walls. Then they step aside. See for yourself. Ahead is a classroom. Inside rows of desks, chalkboard, the faint smell of dry erase and old gum. And you, older you, now you, seated in the front row, watching a screen. On it, footage of you walking this hallway, rewinding, playing forward, rewinding again. And in the footage, you're not alone. There's a figure behind you, wearing your face. Every frame, you stumble back. The lights flicker out. In the dark, the hallway stretches and shifts. You feel it like the space is inhaling. Then you hear the voice again. Yours, not from behind, from inside. I've been waiting for you to remember. A soft click, and you see it, yourself, walking away. back the way you came. Except you never turned around. Historians still argue whether doppelgangers were omens, hallucinations, or fragments of the soul slipping loose. But this isn't a copy. It's something that was always here, waiting for you to come back so it could leave. You give chase. Your shoes slap the floor, echoing too loud in the narrow corridor. The figure ahead of you walks at an unhurried pace. They don't look back. But they don't need to. They know you're behind them. The hallway bends in impossible ways. At first, just longer than you remember. Then wider. Then sharper. You pass a science lab with beakers full of pale green light. A band room humming with static instead of music. A nurse's office with a cot that keeps swelling. Breathing almost. Still the other you walks on. The overhead lights sputter, and for a moment everything freezes. Like you've stepped into a paused VHS tape. You reach forward, and your hand glitches. Not a blur, but a flicker. You can see the bones inside for a moment as if the skin is a projection lagging behind the movement. You close your eyes, breathe, open them. They're gone. Not you, the other you, is still there, slipping around the corner. But the hallway is gone. No more lockers. No more linoleum. You're now in a room filled with mirrors, some tall, some warped. Some so dusty they reflect only movement, not form, and every single one contains you. But not doing what you're doing. Some blink when you don't, some look away when you stare. One reaches up and you watch in horror as their hand touches the inside of the glass. From their side, you stagger back and bump into a mirror that wasn't behind you before. This one isn't a reflection, it's a window. And through it, you see your apartment, the living room. It's night. Someone's sitting on your couch, wearing your clothes, holding your phone, and their mouth is moving, muttering something. You lean in, try to listen, but the moment you do, the mirror cracks, not breaks, not shatters. Just a single perfect fissure straight down the middle. Then again, a second, third, until the whole thing spiderwebs, and the figure on the couch, they look up, directly at you. They see you, they smile, and the smile spreads across every mirror in the room. Hundreds of your own faces, grinning too wide, too sharp. You spin around, and the hallway's back. Or no. This one's different, narrower. The carpet's patterned like the rug in your childhood bedroom. The one you spilled orange juice on in 3rd grade. That stain. It's here, still wet. You hear a voice. Not yours this time, but familiar. It's your grandmother. She's humming the lullaby she sang to you as a kid, except the melody is bent, flattened. Some notes stretch too long, others too short. You turn the corner and it's your bedroom, the one you grew up in. Same glow-in-the-dark stars, same warped closet door. And there, standing by the nightstand, is your reflection again. Only now they're holding your baby blanket and chewing it. Historians still argue whether haunted places warp time, or whether time simply notices us when we linger too long in the wrong places. But this feels like time unzipping you layer by layer to see what falls out. You take a step forward, and the mirror version of you spits out your name, chewed up wrong, but still yours. And then they run. And once again you follow. You run, but the room doesn't. It tilts. Just a degree or two at first, like a cruise ship in mild seas. Then it leans. Drawers spill open. Old toys clatter to the floor, things you haven't seen since you were 9. Your hand-me-down cassette player bounces past your ankle, warping the lullaby into a low demonic croon before its batteries rattle out. The reflection you slips into the closet. You follow, but it's not a closet anymore. It's a staircase, spiraling downward, lit by a candle that flickers with a blue flame. The air smells like warm plastic and vinegar. It reminds you of opening old Halloween masks stored too long in a shoebox. It makes your stomach twitch. Each stair creaks, but not under your weight ahead of you, as if someone is walking just one step out of sight. And then, a photograph. It's lying on the stair, curled at the edges. You pick it up. It's your family. But not any photo you've ever seen. Everyone is smiling except for you. Your face has been scribbled out with something black and waxy. Thick strokes, almost violent. You flip it over. There's something written in faded ink. You should have stayed out of the mirrors. You don't realize how hard your hands are shaking until the wax smears across your fingertips. Below, the stairwell opens into another room, a kitchen. Yours. Exactly yours, except older. Worn, as if it's been used far more than you've ever used it. The reflection you is seated at the table, eating something. You can't see what. Only that it drips, and that your reflection is humming again that same broken lullaby. They look up when you enter, and their face. It's closer to yours now, like it's learned, like it's corrected some earlier error. You ask the only question your throat will allow. What are you? And they smile again, wider this time, and say, I'm what's left. When you keep looking back, then they reach across the table slowly and offer you a chair. You don't sit. You back up, but your shoulder hits something. A mirror, of course. This house is full of them now. Tiny ones in picture frames, shards on the counter, a skillet reflecting the ceiling, and every one shows you sitting at the table, already seated, already chewing, already smiling, already gone. You spin around, panic blooming in your chest, but the reflection stays frozen, no longer mirroring you. A second later, all the mirrors begin to fog from the inside. Not your breath, not steam, something else. Like the glass is exhaling after holding it in too long. You step back. You want to run. You should run, but your feet, they've sunk into the kitchen tile, not through into. Like the floor has softened into memory foam molding to your soles, holding you in place. Your reflection across the table sets down their fork, wipes their mouth with your hoodie sleeve, and stands. And when they speak again, their voice is dry and rusted. One of us has to stay. Then the mirror to your right shatters. But the pieces don't fall. They float, suspended in the air like a puzzle waiting for new edges. Historians still argue whether doppelgangers were warnings, reflections, or remnants of timelines collapsing in on themselves. But this version of you, they aren't warning you. They're replacing you, and you just open the door to let them in. You run. You don't know how your legs are jelly, the floor still clutching at your ankles, but you run. Through the kitchen, past the mirror, past the reflection that doesn't move, but watches. You fling open the hallway door, but the hallway's wrong now. Too long, too still. Every photo on the wall is reversed. Every picture frame holds the same image, you, not smiling, not moving, just watching. You run past them, but they follow in the glass, in every polished surface, the toaster, the oven window. Even the dark gleam of a spoon on the floor catches a shimmer of your double. Always one step behind. Always staring. The floor creaks like it remembers something. You don't know how long you've been running when the hallway opens into your bedroom again, but it's backward now. The furniture flipped. The bed is nailed to the ceiling. The window looks out onto a brick wall, but the bricks are pulsing. Like a heartbeat behind the mortar. You don't care. You slam the door and grab the mirror above your dresser, the one that started it all, and yank it from the wall. It doesn't fight you. It's light now. Too light. As if the glass is gone, and all that's left is the frame of a memory. You shatter it on the floor. The glass doesn't break. It spills, like water, and then it rises, swirling upward into the air, into a vortex of silver and shadow. And in the middle of it, the figure again. You. Almost. But something's wrong now. They're not looking at you anymore. They're looking past you. You spin around. The mirror on the back of your closet door, one you forgot was even there, shines. Your reflection is inside it, but it isn't moving. It's trapped. You're trapped because you're not in your room anymore. Not really. You're inside. The mirror. The moment settles like cold fog in your chest. You try to breathe, but the air is thick. Still. Dusty like an attic that's been sealed for decades. Outside the glass, the other you is moving freely, checking your phone, putting on your hoodie, tucking your old cassette player into your bag like it still works. You scream, but no sound comes out. You slam your fists against the inside of the mirror, but the surface barely ripples. The glass doesn't reflect anymore. It replays. You're watching someone be you. Live your life. Open the fridge. Leave the apartment. Turn out the lights. And as the screen of your world dims, all that's left in the reflection is you, staring back, mouth open in a silent plea. Historians still argue whether mirrors are portals or prisons. But in this case, you know the answer, because now you understand why your reflection always seemed a half-second slow. It wasn't lagging. It was learning, waiting, and tonight you let it win. Time is strange, inside the mirror. At first it flows like syrup, slow, thick, heavy. You try to measure it by blinking, by moving your arms and counting heartbeats. But you're not even sure your heart's still beating. Everything is quiet in here. Sound doesn't carry. Touch feels dulled, distant. Cold creeps in from the edges like mildew on old wallpaper. You stare through the glass like it's a movie screen. Either your perfect imposter, has taken your life for a joyride. You watch them fold your laundry. Wrong order your least favorite sandwich smile in ways you never would. No one notices. Your friends don't notice. Your job doesn't notice. Your mom doesn't notice. Because he's better at being you than you were. He never forgets to return calls. He doesn't leave the oven on. He exercises, reads, laughs with your laugh. He hugs your friends longer than you ever did. And you wait, trapped in the same room behind the same pane, like a paused reflection. The room never changes. The shadows stay exactly where they are. The dust never settles. One day, maybe a week in, maybe a year. You can't tell someone comes into the room. It's a kid, not one you know. They don't see you. They stand in front of the mirror, staring at their reflection. Then they tilt their head. "You okay in there?" They ask. You freeze. Can they hear you? You mouth the word help. You slam your palms against the glass again. The kid blinks, then smiles. Oh, you're the new one. You don't understand, but they turn and walk away. And when they do, your reflection doesn't vanish like before. It flickers. For a moment, the image twists into another face entirely. Not yours. An old man with black eyes, A woman in a wedding dress covered in dust. A child with no mouth. And then it's you again, alone, trapped, but no longer alone inside the mirror. There are others here. You start to feel them. Watching. Pressed into the glass like dried flowers under vellum. Their thoughts aren't like yours. They've been here longer, much longer. One of them leans close enough for you to hear, not a voice, but a memory. A whisper inside your skull. You're only real if someone remembers your name. You gasp, because you realize something terrifying. You don't remember your name. Not your real one, not anymore. Panic settles over you like mold, slow, damp, invasive. You pace the tiny space behind the mirror, trying to remember the shape of your name, the sounds, the feel of it in your mouth. You try writing it with your fingertip in the dust, but the letters vanish. Your reflection follows you, but it's delayed now, as if the mirror is trying to remember you too, and struggling. A shape shifts in the corner. You spin, but there's no corner. The geometry of this place doesn't obey the real world. Walls curve when you're not looking. Ceilings stretch. You walk in a straight line and end up back where you started. The others, the reflections, begin to press closer. You see them now. Dozens of them. Hundreds. Each one someone who made the same mistake. Someone who looked too long. Someone who got replaced. You start to recognize their faces. The woman in the dusty wedding dress, you saw her in an article, once listed as missing. The boy with the stitched mouth, his photo was on a milk carton decades ago. The man with eyes like oil slicks. You think he used to host a radio show, but no one could remember what happened to him. One of them reaches forward. The glass stretches like skin, resisting the press of a palm from the other side. It's not your side. You realize slowly that the mirror might not be a prison at all. It might be a window, and something wants in. Historians still argue whether mirrors in medieval Europe were feared as spiritual portals or revered as divine scrying tools. In certain Slavic households, they were covered during storms and deathbeds to keep spirits from slipping through. Maybe they were right. The reflections have begun whispering in unison now. They don't have mouths, but you hear them. Say your name. You whisper it again what you think it was. Wrong. Say your name. You try another version. A childhood nickname. A middle name. Still wrong. The walls thrum. Glass warps, and just as you're about to collapse from the pressure of it all, something answers. Not from you, but from the other side. The other you. He's at the mirror again, staring in. Only now he sees you. Really sees you. He frowns. Then he speaks. And it's your name. Your real name. The one you forgot. The one only you should know. And just like that, everything breaks. The sound of your name spoken by not you splits the space like a cracked bell. You stagger. It doesn't feel like hearing. It feels like remembering. Like suddenly realizing you've been half asleep for years and now your brain is trying to reboot. The mirror shivers. Your reflection, the real you, the one from before, blinks. Once. Slowly. And then begins to mouth the name again. But it doesn't make a sound. Instead, the walls begin to ripple like cloth catching wind. The crowd of wrong reflections. They freeze. No more twitching limbs. No more whispers. They're waiting. The name keeps echoing not from the mirror anymore, but from underneath. Beneath the floor. Behind the walls. From your own chest. It's inside you now. You grab the frame of the mirror nail scraping against wood. Your other self stares at you. Calm, almost gentle, but the wrongness is still there. Subtle things, his pupils slightly too round, the shadow of a grin, too wide to be entirely yours. You reach toward him. He mirrors you, hand lifting to match. When your palms align through the glass, it's warm. Not cold like a mirror should be. And that's when you realize this isn't glass. This has never been glass. It's a membrane, and it's thinning. You pull back too late. The moment you try to retreat, he lunges. Not with a scream, not with claws, but with a kind of gravitational pull, like the air behind the mirror is collapsing in on itself. You fall forward, but your legs stay behind. You're splitting. You feel the you behind your eyes, and the one behind his switch places. And in the mirror, he's smiling. From your side. You look around. You're in the mirror now. No glass, no walls, just the others. And now they can see you. They gather closer, drawn to the fresh arrival mouths, stitched shut but buzzing with glee. One of them, an old woman with no face, reaches into her dress and pulls out something smooth. Polished. Oval. A mirror. She tilts it toward you, and inside it, a hallway, a bedroom, a lamp turned off just now. It's your apartment, and your new self is standing there, adjusting the collar of your shirt. You scream, but the sound comes out backward. You're still screaming when the mirror goes dark. You're not sure how long you've been here. Time behaves strangely in the mirror world. There's no sunrise, no clocks, no phone battery to drain and warn you of the hours slipping by. But you feel it slowly unspooling sanity like a thread pulled from the edge of your mind. You sit where your knees buckled, surrounded by the others. Some have stopped moving. They fade in and out as if they're forgetting how to exist. Others shuffle in slow circles, tracing invisible patterns with their toes. No one speaks, but the silence is full. A dense hum of unspoken names swallowed too long. Sometimes you think you hear your own name. Sometimes it's a version you don't recognize, like a nickname you never had. Like someone's dream of you. One of them, a child with hollow eyes, offers you a hand. You don't take it. Not yet. You spend what could be days trying to make sense of your surroundings. The mirror world is like a reflection of your apartment, but not your version. It's like someone remembered it wrong. The furniture is familiar, but shifted. The colors are too desaturated. The plants are wilted, and the windows show a moon that never moves. Eventually, you find the spot where the mirror should be. There's a wall, smooth, solid, sealed, no exit. Historians still argue whether mirrors were once considered gateways to the divine or merely tools of vanity. But in some obscure medieval texts, there's mention of soul glass, a surface that traps, not just reflections, but the part of you that lingers when you think you're alone. Scholars debate the meaning of the inward doubling, whether it describes memory, self-awareness, or something darker, something. Whatever it is, you're in it now. One day, if days exist here, you see motion beyond the sealed wall. Your old apartment, your old life. But it's not you living it anymore. He's doing well. He hosts your friends. He makes your tea. He looks in the mirror and blinks at you. And sometimes, when he's alone, he presses his ear to the glass and whispers, not to hear you, to feed you. Because mirrors don't just trap, they hunger. And you're not the first to be swallowed. but you'll be the last thing others see right before they turn out the light. Wind down 300 words. So now if you're still with me and still awake, let your breath soften. You're not in a mirror. You're not in a room with faded versions of yourself pacing behind thin glass. You're here in bed, safe in the glow of your nightlight, or maybe the soft flicker of a screen. Let that fact wrap around you like a quilt, heavy grounding. Outside, the world goes quiet. Streetlights buzz. Somewhere a neighbor's dog groans in its sleep. It's okay. You can let go of the story now. Let the eerie edges blur and settle. If the mirror near your bed seems darker than usual tonight, don't worry. That's just your eyes adjusting. And if your reflection blinks a little slower or lingers a moment longer before copying you, it's probably just a trick of the light. Probably. You've crossed safely through the story now. Leave the fear on the far bank. Carry only the rhythm of my voice, the whisper of distant glass, and the calm certainty that you're exactly where you need to be. Soft sheets, quiet room, dreams waiting like unopened books, and sleep right behind your eyelids, just waiting for you to look away. End of script. Sweet dreams.